So when you're dealing with stupid criminals, you can almost predict at the exact moment when they're going to start acting like stupid criminals, and they're going to start engaging in the same exact pattern of dysfunctional criminal activity as they always have. So right now it's 4:30 p.m. on, today is Monday. Whoa, yeah, July 28th, 2025. I just wrapped up 2.5 hours of Zoom meetings, instructional Zoom meetings where I actually had two electronic devices open at the same time. And I was going back and forth between both electronic devices, which were on the same Zoom meeting at the same time. Throughout this entire 2.5 hour training period on Zoom, which is an electronic platform, using multiple electronic devices, I felt perfectly fine. There were no violent electronic assaults on my person during that time. My electronic devices were not giving off extremely high levels of electromagnetic output, which they give off normally as part of their function anyway. Everything was fine, even with two open electronic devices using Wi-Fi, using the same Wi-Fi network. Everything was fine for 2.5 hours. Now, 1 hour after my meeting ended, I am getting electronically assaulted by the same exact directed energy weapon that has been used to electronically assault me by the Greenville Group's sponsored career harasser, a psychopath and sex offender named Jasmine Irizarry, who has bragged in writing that she is getting paid $300,000 to use a directed energy weapon to electronically harass me. And she says that she has it mounted on a tripod and is aiming it at my head. It has been just a little over 24 hours since Jasmine Irizarry last used this directed energy weapon to electronically assault me. And she does it in very predictable, almost like moment by moment predictable patterns that docks her own stupidity and her own psychosis. Irizarry is a severely psychotic and obsessive psychopath who, according to law enforcement, targets other females. Maybe she thinks she's a man. I don't know. She's kind of a large, bulky person who doesn't look terribly female. Not that I care. I really don't care. But her psychology shows that she has some serious aggression issues towards other females. Maybe because she has a problem with her own femaleness, right? So I'm not going to go into the psychological analysis of why she aggressively and continuously targets other females in her vicinity, but she does. And this kind of electronic assault has been going on for over 5 years. It's a thing. So for the stupid lowlifes who watch my channel and don't understand what a directed energy device is, maybe you should go Google CBS News /60 Minutes directed energy weapons and see what the deal is with directed energy weapons and their use on private American citizens these days. 60 Minutes has made at least 2 hour-long documentaries in the last few years regarding the use of directed energy weapons, primarily by Russian groups and persons. Russian individuals operating and living here in the United States have been caught by U.S. law enforcement using directed energy weapons. So basically, these weapons are primarily used by Russian persons and groups on private American citizens. The other groups in the United States who do have possession of directed energy weapons, ironically, are law enforcement agencies such as the police, the FBI, and most likely the CIA. But that is according to CBS News. I don't have a way of reporting and verifying that myself. So right now, I have been doing exactly what I always do when I start eating and drinking food in the privacy of my living space, which is to use my keys to make a noise barrier between myself and the audio bugs that are obviously being used in this unit, because the psycho pig directly below in 76, I suspect it's Irizarry or somebody who behaves in an identical manner to her. Therefore, it must be her. I mean, she doesn't have a twin or anything. And even if she did have a physical twin, the chances of that physical twin behaving in exactly the same identical behavioral anomalous manner, moment by moment, consistently across hours and days and weeks and months and years is pretty much zero. Even identical twins don't behave in the same exact identical, irreproducibly unusual pattern of cause and effect, moment by moment reaction. So Irizarry has this thing with me putting water bottles in my mouth toothbrushes in my mouth, food in my mouth. And then when I chew and swallow or make slurping noises, she becomes psychotically violent and aggressive directly below this floor. This has been going on for the last 45 minutes while I've been having a snack after finishing up 2.5 hours of Zoom meetings, where again, I was using 2 separate electronic devices at the same time, which were both operating on Wi-Fi. And you would have thought that the excessive Wi-Fi and electromagnetic output from 2 very hot, basically, electronic devices being used at the same time. So my cell phone was hot, my laptop computer were hot. They were both hot because I was using multiple applications on both of these devices at the same time for 2.5 hours. Nothing happened. There was no electronic assault. Not even the Wi-Fi was giving me like a strange burning and squeezing and sharp head exploding sensation. That only started happening when I was sitting here drinking this water bottle and doing this with my keys. And the psycho directly below started becoming all agitated and violent and aggressive because they're a psychotic sex offender and likes to hear slurping noises and swallowing noises that I make when I'm sitting at my table in the privacy of this living space with the door closed. Not only is my entrance door closed, my bathroom door is closed. Nobody should have any knowledge of any swallowing or slurping noises that I might happen to make when I'm trying to have a snack in the privacy of my living space. But the psycho pig, a sex offender and violent asswipe directly below me, seems to have knowledge of my slurping and swallowing noises because that's when they become violent, aggressive, disruptive, and deliberately psychotic. I mean, when they're slamming and banging things violently directly below you so that your floor shakes, then there's a problem. And then when you make noise, right, to prevent them from being able to hear what you're doing with your water bottles or with your food or with your toothbrushes or anything you might happen to have to put on or around your mouth, when they become violent because you're preventing them from hearing what you might happen to do, drinking, eating, brushing your teeth, putting on chapstick, lipstick, lip gloss, whatever, then you're dealing with obviously a very disturbed sex offender, somebody who uses surveillance devices. So I guess that would be a cyber criminal and an obsessive stalker. That's what I'm dealing with right now. So right now, as I'm making this video, I'm getting electronically assaulted by a directed energy device that has nothing to do with any of the electronic devices that I've been using over the last 2.5 hours. And this is happening in real time. So when your head suddenly feels like it's about to burst open and you're experiencing eyeball popping head pressure that suddenly occurs from one moment to the next out of the blue, when you did not experience anything of the sort when using legitimate electronic devices such as laptops, cell phones, and Wi-Fi, then you know you're being electronically assaulted by a directed energy device that is designed to do exactly what it is doing, which is to basically, it concentrates a stream of electromagnetic output into a very harmful beam that can then be aimed at persons, animals, and other targets, and it goes through walls. Obviously, EMF goes through walls, right? That's how you get your Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi is EMF. It is electromagnetic frequency output. And what directed energy devices do is simply concentrate that output into a harmful stream that can then be focused and directed at persons, places, and things. And that's what I'm experiencing now. So this just started happening at 4:30 p.m. It wasn't happening at any point within the last 24 hours. The last time that I was electronically assaulted by Irizarry's directed energy weapon was yesterday afternoon at approximately 1:30 p.m. when I called the Greenville group because I kept having to jump out of my shower due to the fact that every time I did certain things in the privacy of my shower while legitimately showering, I wasn't smoking crack in there, but when you rinse off certain body parts and the psycho pig who's been electronically harassing and assaulting you for years when you try to take a shower in the privacy of your bathroom starts doing that again, then you have to call the landlord because the landlord is responsible for housing this psychopath, sex offender, and cyber criminal who specializes in the use of electronic devices of all kinds and is being sponsored by the property manager, a Russian criminal named Oleg Aliseyev. That's a fact. He's a criminal. I can say that because it's a fact. Mr. Aliseyev is a property manager and has been charged by the city of Boston with criminal neglect in my unit on multiple occasions over the last 5 years. So when I say he's a criminal, well, he's been charged with criminal neglect and was taken to court by the city of Boston in a criminal lawsuit that occurred 5 times over the last few years. That's a criminal. That's a fact. Anyway, so just for the record, if this continues, I'm once again going to have to call the Greenville group. And this ongoing electronic assault by Jasmine Irizarry does exactly what she herself described in writing in comments she made on my social media pages, that she says she is aiming this directed energy weapon at my head, because that is exactly where it begins to manifest itself. And then it goes down the rest of your body and makes you feel like you're being squeezed head to toe in a extremely tight and increasingly tightening vise that has nothing to do with anything in your environment that could possibly be accidentally causing that type of phenomenon. This is a external assault, obviously, from somebody who knows what they're doing.